Hi, Gemini. I do apologize. I'm getting these astrology readings out really, really late. It's just been one thing after another. And with that being said, so let's just jump right into it. This is your astrology for all Gemini signs for the month of January 2020. I'm going to kind of speed it up a little bit due to I have so many to do and I'm running late. But Spirit right off the bat is telling me it has everything to do with your delivery system, the details, your communication this month, um with yourself as well as outwardly. And you're definitely dealing with grief. Hold on, I'm being directed to something. You're definitely dealing with grief, pride, blame, fear. It could be relationships with yourself, with others. Throat chakra. Hidden self coming to rise up out of you versus your personal foundations, your personal truths. But really, I say truths, but really I do mean foundations. Um, this is resetting, not your truths, but understanding how to reset yourself in a foundation of your truth that will allow you to rebuild. But you're also learning how to listen to the higher mind and get past your own self-deceptions, finding new ethics and morals, and overcoming karmic lessons that you're learning from your subconscious as it rises. With that being said, let's just jump right in. What I'm going to do is, if there's nothing in the house, I'm going to skip the house, okay? Because that means technically there's nothing there to influence it in either direction. It's your typical self. But if there's something in the house, then we're going to discuss it. But before I do that, on the 3rd, Mars moved into Sagittarius. You do have the full moon. The lunar eclipse is taking place in Cancer on the 10th. Venus enters Pisces on the 13th. Mercury enters Aquarius on the 16th. The sun enters Aquarius on the 20th. You have the new moon in Capricorn on the 24th. Hold on. I have an incense burning and I want to make sure my kitty cat does not get himself all into it, because he will. And then we have Ceres, which is actually moving out of Capricorn, but it's going to be sitting in the cusp for the 30th and the 31st before it actually enters into Aquarius. So it's going to be between Capricorn and Aquarius. Now, with that being said, let's take a look. Now, again, Geminis, if you're a Gemini sign, like your sun's in Gemini, this is coming into your core energies from the Gemini point of view. Now, if you're a moon Gemini, we're talking more about your emotions. And if you're a rising, then we're definitely in the correct houses. I'm just making sure that I throw that out there. Geminis, you don't have anything in your first house, so we're going to skip it, but we're going to go into the second house. This is where that lunar eclipse and the full moon is taking place on the 10th, and it's in opposition of Capricorn. So it's your second house in opposition of the 8th house. And you just had the solar eclipse last month in the 8th house. I believe it was the day after Christmas. And that is the relationships, the rules to the relationships. It's joint finances, joint efforts, joint resources, talking to you about What are the rules and the responsibilities of the relationships? But it also speaks to you of birth, death, and rebirth within the relationships. The regeneration of the relationships. It speaks to you as well as taxes, inheritance, wills, bankruptcies, spouses, money. It is the transformation of the relationship. Now that's your eighth house. You've got a lot going on in the eighth house. We'll come back to that. But right now, when we're talking about the second house, this is your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem. The eclipse is taking place, and that full moon is taking place in your value, your liberation. But it is also speaking to you of, your small movable properties, like your cell phone, the things that the things that make you feel good about you, and you kind of need them, like glasses for some people. These are small movable possessions that help support our self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, our liberation, our value in general. Now, with it being in Cancer, this is asking you where you're not nurturing yourself. Where you're not nurturing yourself, but you're nurturing those other relationships. Where the relationships of that outer community, whether it's the outer community itself, such as working environments, because relationships are everything that you care about. Anything you care about, you have a relationship with. I say this all the time. You have a relationship with your money, and when you have no money, you know about your relationship with that lack of money. Same idea with a car. But it's the same thing when it's your loved ones, your spouses, your children, your family, as it is with your working environment. They're still relationships. And these relationships are asking you, where are you not setting proper rules, walls, and boundaries in them, and they're pushing you around, or possibly you're pushing someone else around. But I would say more of you're getting pushed around, and it's not joint effort, joint resources, joint finances, and it's coming back and pushing on you and making you sensitive, because specifically that lunar eclipse is asking you, what about that outer world? That outer world, those rules, walls, and boundaries are not set properly for those rules, those walls, those boundaries. This is the defense system coming up and speaking directly to your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem, and is redirecting what the rules are of these relationships, or what they need to be, or what you need to reset them to be. And then how to properly rule and run those relationships, because you first need to make sure you are not losing your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem in these relationships. And that is basically what is going to be showing to you at the lunar eclipse and the full moon in Cancer, because Cancer is all about how do we nurture it properly. And the outer community is going to be asking you what's been neglected that's keeping you from getting that nurturing. Okay? Where is the neglecting taking place? Where have you not nurtured that outer community properly? Those outer relationships properly, and now it's coming back and it's forcing you to really look at your self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and ask you if you're losing it or coming into a more powerful energy of it. Because if you're losing it, something is going wrong out there, and things need to be shifted, more or less. Now, when we look at your third house and your fourth house, there's nothing here. This is your communication and your home. But when we get into the fifth house, this is where Ura is. Ura is in Libra. The fifth house does speak to you about your pursuit of pleasure right now. And where is the sacrifice and commitment to enjoying life, to the pursuit of pleasure? This can be your childlike personality coming out. This can be your love interests, your personal interests. It can be also gambling, sports, hobbies. Where is the pursuit of pleasure? Is there a pursuit of pleasure? Where are you able to enjoy life, and what parts of life help you to enjoy it? Your being here is asking you to put sacrifice and commitment into enjoying something for yourself. And then with that, it brings it back to your inner emotional security. Okay, so this is helping strengthen you from a core, from inside, allowing your inner child to play, your inner creativity to express itself, and to find what brings interests of enjoyment and fun and pleasure back into your life. This is asking you to put some TLC on yourself and your own creative expression, which will help you not only strengthen that inner emotional security, but it will also help you strengthen that self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, and bring you back into liberty. Bring you back, not liberty, into feeling liberated. Couldn't get the word out. But it will help strengthen you in the direction of where you should be going. But it's all going to be questioning that 8th house, like I said. But before we get to the 8th house, let's look at that 7th house. The 7th house for you has Mars in it. It also has Pallas in it. Right up until, actually, I missed that, up until the 16th when, well, Pallas is going to be in the cusp from the 16th to the 18th. It will actually move into Capricorn on the 18th. But prior to that, you have Mars and Pallas in Sagittarius. So this is asking you, this is your 7th house. This is the relationships, asking you to take action. What is your passion, your action, your aggression, your fire, your inner fire? Sagittarius I also see as a higher self in a form. It's very, I call it very Indiana Jones, Tomb Raider. It's very adventurous. It wants to take chances within the relationships. It's curious, but then it's not attached. It's curious, but not really attached. But Mars is asking you to put some fire, some drive behind that, behind these relationships. Passion, action, aggression. Fire. Put the fire into it. And put a little bit of attachment into it, where you're not normally attached. And what I mean by attachment is we're talking about Pallas. This is strategic thinking, the warrior goddess of Athena. She has wisdom here to help you work your way through these relationships and rebirth them, bring new fire, new life to them, as well as to the relationship with yourself. Okay? And like I said, this is what a lot of this is coming down to, is the relationship with yourself is the communication of the month. The relationship with yourself, because when you get that more in a healthy scale, then it helps direct you into the relationships with everybody else and what those rules, laws, and boundaries need to be. So this is asking you to get a little attached to yourself, into what's important to you in these relationships. But the attachment is to self, not necessarily to others. And I don't mean it in a narcissist point of view. I mean it in a self-loving point of view. In the relationships that you're part of, is the self-love there? Is the love coming from the others there? Passion, action, aggression, fire within these relationships. And it's asking you, Pallas, the Athena, the warrior goddess, is asking you strategically think your way through this. This is asking you to really pay attention to the ones that are good for you and the ones that are not. And are they healthy? Do they help develop you and the relationship you have with yourself as well as with others? Now, when you move into that 8th house, like I said, this is where all the energies have been taking place because of these eclipses that started on the 26th of December. And then are now coming through on the 10th of January. Plus, you're going to have the new moon again in Capricorn, which is that rules, walls, boundaries of the relationships. So see, this is why it's important for you to be, giving you that self-love right now, giving you that communication, giving you that creativity, that pursuit of pleasure and enjoyment, and finding out what it is that you like and you want to put time into, because that helps strengthen your inner emotional security and your self-worth, self-value, and self-esteem. Now, like I said, the question is going to be coming from the relationships rules with the outer community. And are they set in healthy ways? Because you have, after the 18th, you have Pallas, the Athena, the warrior goddess, moving in to Capricorn. You have Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn, the Sun, Mercury, and Ceres. All that it's going to be there. Like I said, you're going to have Venus moving out on the 13th. You're going to have Mercury moving out on the 16th. Sun moving out on the 20th. But for the majority of the month, up until, you're getting into that second half of the month, you have all of these energies bringing illumination to what are the rules, the walls, the boundaries of these relationships. Are they helping you find transformational healing? Are they helping you to give birth to a new part of the relationship, to a healthy new? I mean, are you able to release, surrender, let go, birth, death, rebirth of the relationship and find new healthy rules, walls, boundaries, joint resources, joint efforts, joint finances? This is ruled by Scorpio. It's ruled by creation and death. Okay, this energy is. It's being illuminated as if it's being nurtured properly or neglected right now. Because until the 20th, the sun is still illuminating that energy. Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration, helping you find where your soul is in these relationships, or if it's in it or not. And then how to make sure you stand in a healthy balance within them. Ceres is the threefold theory. It's also karma. It's also how you nurture or how you neglect. Okay? Mercury is the communication that's going to be in here until the 16th. And Mercury is kind of coming out in very much word vomity ways right now in Capricorn. Capricorn can be cold energy. Capricorn energy is all about setting the foundations, and I want it to last a long time. I want it to be something that's worth it. So I'm going to throw out that information that needs to be heard, and come hell or high water, it's going to be heard. You're being illuminated in everything that's going on within these relationships and what the rules are, and are they set properly to help you find where your soul exists in them, or are you losing your soul in them? Like I said, a lot of this energy is also going to be speaking with Ceres as it crosses over Saturn and Pluto, and it's going to be saying you have to take responsibility for your actions. Ceres is considered the mother that originally didn't do the best job, and she's going, I acknowledge where I fucked up. I acknowledge and I take responsibility for where I didn't do good in these relationships. But are you going to take responsibility for where you're continuing to keep doing the same shit that I did? Are you ready to grow up and make it better for yourself? And that is your main question right now. The communication you have with yourself about your truths. And then how you put that out there for the rest of the world to set these relationships in healthy ways. Like I said, children, working environment, spouses, loved ones, parents, everything you care about, you have a relationship with. This is asking you to find transformational healing within them by actually taking the action. And as you enter the second half of the month, as Pallas moves in and jumps on top of Jupiter, She's going to be bringing the strategic thinking and the knowledge of how to do it, how to actually bring that into tangible reality and make that work for you. But the first half of the month is kind of showing you where you haven't got it right. Now, you don't have anything in Aquarius, but you do have in your 10th house, you still have Lilith, Neptune, and then you will also have Venus as of the 13th. The 10th house is your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your professional career. Spirit is saying your higher education, your higher ethics, your higher morals need to be in this area. Your higher honor, your higher reputation, your higher prestige and professional career, your higher understanding of your social foundations needs to not be taken lightly at this time, because Neptune is helping you create something new. But Neptune's tricky. It's magic. It can create something new or take you right back down the same old road. Venus is moving and bringing sensitivity to this. So it's asking you to step up to that higher understanding, that higher self, and what it is you wish to create in this foundation of the social foundations and your financial success, your reputation, your prestige, your career, your honor. But Lilith is still wanting to pick at things and Lilith in this energy is wanting you to she's pushing you into your power, into your fire, into your liberation, but you want to make sure she's not pushing you into egotistically doing it. You want to make sure that you're keeping it with honor. With your honor and your ethics and your morals, because that could easily trip into Lilith taking it down a dirty road that just recycles the same shit that's always been. This is about stepping into a higher perspective and then taking that into your higher self, bringing it into your honor, reputation, prestige, which will ultimately bring it back into those roles of those relationships, more or less. And are they joint? Are they fair? Are they balanced? As well as, are you? And do they support you? Then when you come into the 11th house, again, you have Chiron here, which is trying to bring healing in to these relationships, these larger groups, these memberships, helping you find healing in your soul fire and your power by understanding if the right people are there to help you set your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, and bring it into fruition, into tangible reality. Because they should be the same people that are involved with not necessarily only like the same things that you do, but should support you. If they aren't supportive of you, then they're not real friends, groups, memberships. They're supposed to understand and support your goals, your dreams, your ambitions. They don't necessarily need to take part in them, but they're supposed to love you for who you are and accept you for who you are. Chiron here is still also talking to Lilith, which is in the 10th house. She's very close. They're very close to one another still. They're within 10 degrees, technically. So she's asking you to burn for you. And I've been saying this whole time, this is about your self-worth, your self-value, your self-esteem, your inner emotional security, and your pursuit of pleasure by understanding what your soul wants and getting right with that so that you can set that outer community so that it works for you, not against you. This is burn for yourself for once. Love yourself. And make sure that the people who are coming into your life are loving you, not just accepting you. And then as you get into your 12th house, this is your subconscious, your hidden self, your unconscious actions, your karmic debts, your self-deceptions, your mental bad talk to yourself, your secrets in the closet. You have Uranus, which is going direct the same day as that eclipse. And that's independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, your hidden self. your skeletons in your closet. That doesn't mean bad things. That means the things about yourself that you don't allow people to see either. It's the pieces of yourself you don't fully believe in, or you're in doubt or in denial or uncomfortable with, and don't really like people to know about you. This is where Uranus is for you. Independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem. Everything about this right now is about healing the soul from the inside out and allowing those truths of yourself to be accepted by yourself. And stop sacrificing yourself for what you don't think is acceptable to others or maybe yourself. This is a time of healing for you. This is a time of standing still and giving yourself a true depth of understanding yourself and what it is you love, what it is you desire, what it is that brings you pleasure, what it is that brings you enjoyment, what it is that helps set that inner emotional security and builds your liberation, your worth, your value, your self-esteem. Ultimately, you're getting a reincarnation. This is a moment before the Phoenix lights. Take this time to gather everything that you need and bring it back to you, because you're bringing your power back. You may not feel it fully this month, but it is trying to bring it back to you before the Phoenix lights. I love you guys. Bye.